helping you unpack the economic headlines and providing real money solutions.
Hey, good day, America. We see DOGE at work in our federal government, hopefully taking America back to her constitutional roots. We need that. We have 37 trillion almost in federal debt, and we're on a highway speeding towards a cliff with no road underneath. I mean, this is like Wile E. Coyote going off the road. And we've been wasting trillions of dollars funding all sorts of nonsense. Do we really want to fund the Taliban's production of heroin? Now, I'm not making this up. That's literally, it sounds crazy, right? Let me read from the White House. They put this out. Some of the things that we've been wasting money on and abusing taxpayer dollars with. It's whitehouse.gov, fact sheets. At USAID, waste and abuse runs deep. That's the title of this. $1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. Serbia. $70,000 for production of a DEI musical in Ireland. $2.5 million for electric vehicles for Vietnam, for America. $47,000 for a transgender opera. What is a transgender opera in Colombia? $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. $2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt, hundreds of thousands of dollars for a nonprofit linked to designated terrorist groups even after an inspector general launched an investigation. Millions to the Eco Health Alliance, which was involved in research at the Wuhan lab. Hundreds of thousands of meals that went to Al-Qaeda affiliated fighters in Syria. We're feeding Al-Qaeda affiliated fighters in Syria. It's unbelievable. Funding to print personalized contraceptive birth control devices in developing countries. Personalized. I don't even know what that means, but that's what the White House press release said. Hundreds of millions of dollars to fund irrigation canals, farming equipment, and even fertilizer used to support the unprecedented poppy cultivation and heroin production in Afghanistan, benefiting the Taliban. So you got that right. I did say that. It says that we are funding the Taliban's production of heroin. It's bad at every level, and that was found in USAID. Now, even wiping all of that out, you add it all up, that's not going to solve our debt problem, but it's a start. Much of that waste and fraud, when you add it all together, can be totaling trillions of dollars. Not just the stuff like in Guatemala and the LGBTQ plus promotion and all that, but cutting some really what we might have grown to depend on, federal agencies and government programs and so forth. Change is hard, and it's going to have to happen because we cannot continue with $37 trillion in debt. We talk about that all the time on Private Money Radio. We are on a debt cliff, and there's no road, and we're speeding so fast. We've got to turn this around now. I have good news. The feds are not supposed to be in all these businesses. Now, I know it's hard. You may love the program that you're benefiting from. You may really appreciate it, but we're not supposed to be in that business according to the Constitution. I've got the Constitution right here. We're the United States. United States. That means a grouping of states that are united together for common purposes. The states are supposed to take the main role. The federal government's primary role, as you read this book, is to ensure that all states have a Republican form of government. We don't guarantee a democracy. We elect our Republican elected officials through democratic means. Yes, we take popular votes, but it's supposed to be representative government because the mob rule is a bad idea, and the Constitution says that. So guarantee every state has a Republican form of government, not a pure democracy, and they're supposed to protect us against invasion and domestic violence. Something that the Biden administration didn't seem to be willing to do. We'd have domestic violence and riots and so forth, and we'd have invasion, crossing the southern border, for example. They weren't protecting us. But I'll read from Article 4, Section 4, the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a Republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. All right, this is reflected in the preamble. The preamble of this Constitution: we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for its common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So it's we the people, through the states, created the federal government. The states pre-existed our federal government, and we don't treat them that way. Too often the media, too often the federal government has treated the states as second-class citizens. No, they're the higher class. The United States is where we've come together as states. We're going to have representatives or senators from 3 different states: Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. And we're going to be talking about what states can do to protect and preserve your liberties. Now, does anything in this Constitution suggest the federal government should be paying for transgender opera in Colombia? No. Sex changes in Colombia? No. Electric cars for Vietnam? Of course not. The Constitution doesn't say any of that. In fact, it does say in the 10th Amendment, the powers not delegated to the United States by this Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. So who has the greater number of powers? The people in the states, not the federal government. They should get out of so many of these businesses that they're in. Even if you like the program, it's not legitimate. It's taking money from other people and spending it on things that they're not supposed to be spending on. Obviously, this has been ignored. Hopefully MAGA, Make America Great Again, and DOGE are ready to address it. It's time to do that. And one of the things that we talk about all the time on Pirate Money Radio is federalism. And I'm going to quote from the Congress. This is Congress.gov. It says, another basic concept embodied in the Constitution is federalism, which refers to the division and sharing of power between the national and state governments. By allocating power among state and federal governments, the framers sought to establish a unified national government of limited powers while maintaining a distinct sphere of autonomy in which state governments could exercise a general police power. Although the framers sought to preserve liberty by diffusing power, justices and scholars have noted that federalism has other advantages, including that it allows individual states to experiment with novel government programs as laboratories of democracy and increases the accountability of elected government officials to its citizens. The closer you are to the people, the better the government is. And that's why having elected representatives from your town or your county is better than just voting for a president and leaving it at that. That's why we're going to talk today with 3 state elected officials, one from Kansas, Senator Mike Murphy, one from Texas, Representative Mitch Little, and one from Oklahoma, Senator David Bullard. All 3 are working on constitutional currency, among other things, constitutional solutions. We call it transactional gold and silver. We know it as pirate money, but they're working, each one of them in their respective states, and other great constitutional provisions. Now, speaking of money, there are 3 things you can do with your money. You can give it, you can spend it, or you can invest it. Here at Pirate Money Radio, we work to explain solutions that support all 3 areas in a way that promotes liberty, security, and values. Patriot Mobile, a mobile phone company, supports the Pirate Money Radio program. Patriot Mobile uses U.S. carriers including AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, and operates on both Apple and Android phones. More information about the Economic War Room, our sister show, and Patriot Mobile is available at piratemoneyradio.com/AFR. That's piratemoneyradio.com/AFR. Now, after the break, we're going to be talking with Senator Mike Murphy. He knows and understands governments have a lot to do with money, and he has been married 43 years. He has 4 adult children, 14 grandchildren. He's a retired captain from United Airlines, domestic and international. He's flown the 777, 767, 757, 747, you name it. If it's a 7, he's flown it. And the 319 and 320. He's got 47 years active general aviation. He owns his own plane. He's an active member of the Kansas Pilot Association, small business owner for over 30 years. Farm ranch owner, served on multiple boards, freelance contributor to magazines, 12-year township. Senator Mike Murphy from Kansas is going to be here talking about federalism in Kansas and the Constitution and what we ought to be doing in Kansas. We'll be right back with Mike Murphy right after this break. Here's a $10 bill. It's got the picture of Alexander Hamilton on the front of it. You know, it's kind of sad. When I was 10 years old, everything that I could buy for $1 now costs about $10. That's the cost of inflation. It's just paper. It's not backed by anything. You can't exchange it for gold and silver. You used to, but you can't do that anymore. And that's unfortunate. You know, pirates wouldn't accept this. Pirates, they wanted gold and silver. Patriots, the founders of this nation, also wanted gold and silver coin. In fact, they put a provision in the Constitution, 17 words, that said states could only make gold and silver coins tender within the states. That's why I wrote this new book, Pirate Money, Discovering the Founders' Hidden Plan for Economic Justice and Defeating the Great Reset. It will explain exactly the history of money and exactly why gold and silver coins can be made modern with new technology and a useful monetary system. PirateMoneyBook.com.
I'm Rick Scarborough, and this is my take. On January 20, Donald J. Trump took the oath of office, and the cloud over our country began to lift. He signed 26 executive orders on the very first day in office, including an order that in America, only 2 genders would be recognized. His return to the federal bureaucracy to moral sanity rebuked his predecessor publicly, while those in attendance cheered him. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who had caused the entire nation distress and enabled the radical left to enforce their wickedness on every institution in America, were defeated. When he signed the executive order, the left went crazy and immediately returned to their playbook of calling the president a tyrant, began saying that this would harm the transgenders. Our president wasn't trying to harm the transgenders. He was ending the whole movement, which was based on a lie which advanced the ungodly notion that God was wrong when he created only male and female. I'm Rick Scarborough, and that's my take.
Welcome back to Pirate Money Radio with your host, Kevin Freeman.
And we're joined by Senator Mike Murphy from Kansas. I read his bio before the break. Tremendous guy. I've known him since he was Representative Mike Murphy from Kansas. He's been at Liberty Hawk Ranch. How's it going, Senator?
It's pretty good. You've known me. I mean, I was a representative just a month ago still. So, but we've known each other for a few years, and I appreciate the relationship, I'll tell you.
We appreciate you. And this is American Family Radio, and we've got some great stations in Kansas. Below Arkansas City, Great Bend, Independence, Salina, Bronson, Topeka, Wichita, Hayes, Marysville, Ottawa. I think we cover the state pretty well.
I think so, but I do have to correct you on one. It's Arkansas City.
Arkansas. Oh, well, that's true. And do you call Senator, or not, Governor Sanders' state, do you call that Arkansas also?
Yes, we do.
Okay. All right. So, Senator, you worked in the House and you were leading legislation on our transactional gold, constitutional currency, pirate money in the last session. We didn't get it all the way across the finish line, but you came very close. You pushed hard. And you've got the chocolate. We've got a contest here at Liberty Hawk Ranch. We've got an ice cream machine. We have vanilla for Ken Ivory, and we've got chocolate for Michael Murphy. Tell us, what does it look like in the current session? How's it going?
I've spoken with the Senate President in the days since. I've spoken with the bank lobby. I've spoken with our treasurer. I've spoken with the chair of House Financial. Everybody's looking forward to it. Would like to do it, and so we're just in a situation. So anyway, I think that the president is going to pull those bills back and put them in our Fed and state chair here in the Senate. The chair has told me he really likes them. He actually had passed out the legal tender bill last year, so we're gonna come back and hit that pretty hard. We did split things up. We are going to run the depository bill separate. There were a few objections, and so I think we can kind of work around those by